Hey, this is Adam from Side Hustle University, and I'll be your coach, walking you through how you should do bookkeeping for your side business. So let's get started. Now, as you're just getting started with your side hustle, you're going to need to determine how you will complete the bookkeeping for the business. But before you even get into how to do it, I just want to convince you that you need to do it in the first place. You need to do your bookkeeping, and you need to really do it right away when you get started. And the purpose of bookkeeping is it's not just to be able to complete your taxes at the end of the year, although you will need to have completed bookkeeping for your tax purposes, but rather the purpose is really to help you determine whether or not your business is profitable and sustainable. Now, there are at least 3 different options for completing your bookkeeping for your side hustle, and each option has some pros and cons. And I'm going to outline 3 broad options and which option I think will best suit you during different phases of your business. So when you're just getting started with your side hustle and you have very little sales yet, you want to reduce your overhead expenses as much as possible. And you really don't need a high-priced CPA to charge you monthly for bookkeeping services when you only have a couple transactions a month. So to get started, you just need to keep track of all of your expenses with a little table, kind of like this, that will just list each transaction. It'll list the date, the dollar amount, and a general category of the type of transaction, and then a description of that transaction. Now, ultimately, a bookkeeper or tax accountant will be able to take this and complete your income statement for the tax year in order to complete your tax return. Now, in addition to keeping track of all of your transactions, you also need to keep track of all of your transactions on a project-by-project basis so that you can ensure that you're making money on each individual project or order. So for example, let's say you have a $6,000 project where you built a deck, an outdoor space for a customer. You can just create a little table like this, and in this example, let's say you spent $1,200 on materials, $2,000 for some contract labor that you hired to give you a hand, and then we assume that you paid yourself $2,000 for the job, leaving the company with an $800 profit on the job. Now, you need to get in the habit of doing this right from the beginning and tracking your expenses and sales on a project-by-project basis. Now, once a business is consistently generating sales and gross profit each month, it might be time to graduate from Excel and move your bookkeeping to QuickBooks, which ultimately is much more powerful tool than just a simple Excel table. So as a general rule of thumb, if you have less than 10 transactions per month and less than $1,000 per month in sales, I think you can probably get away with just using Excel. But any more than that, and you probably need to start considering QuickBooks. So there's a lot of online training for QuickBooks, and if you have a lot of time on your hands or you just really enjoy learning how to do the bookkeeping, then paying that $20 a month fee for a basic subscription to QuickBooks is probably your cheapest option next to a spreadsheet. Now, if you have a lot of extra time, learning how to use QuickBooks and doing your own bookkeeping can be a valuable skill to pick up. But if you have more sales than you have time to fulfill, then you should focus on selling and producing more product or services, and then simply hire a bookkeeping service to handle that bookkeeping. And I really like bench.co for side hustles. They are kind of a mix of technology and people that make completing your bookkeeping really efficient. And their monthly plans start as low as $139 per month. It's not $20 a month. So you can see why you don't want to start by hiring a bookkeeper right off the bat, because if you have less than $1,000 per month in sales, you really don't want to be paying 15% or more of your total sales just for a bookkeeper. So at that level, stick with Excel. But if you're selling more than $1,000 per month, and if you could do even more if you had more time, then I'd strongly encourage you just to hire Bench. So here's a screenshot We took up their different pricing plans to give you some idea of pricing. And you can see Bench will grow with you as you potentially grow your side hustle into maybe a full-time business. Bench will complete your bookkeeping and then can provide you reports to your tax accountant at the end of the year, or they can actually file your taxes for you as well for an additional fee. What I hope you take away from this is that doing your bookkeeping is, first of all, really important. But when you're still small, you don't want to spend too much on bookkeeping. So you need to think about this as a progression from Excel to an outsourced bookkeeping service. So we hope that this video gives you a little more guidance as you choose how to handle bookkeeping for your side hustle. And again, please reach out to us if you'd like a little more detail, or if you just want to discuss your unique situation, we'd be happy to help.